Hi guys, today we're going to be learning about circle graphs, which they can also be called pie graphs, so you can hear it either way. So what do? They represent data, they compare information, they show relationships to a whole, and down here I just drew you a little example, and you can see that it's always in a circle and there's always little sections. These sections can be colored in, they can have symbols, or have words written in them to represent what each section means. So let's do an example, Kim. Alright? So, out of 10 people, 3 like Kit Kats, 2 like Butterfingers, 2 like Sour Patch Kids, and 3 like Reese's. Represent the data in a pie graph. So how to do that is you start by writing the candy as fractions. So Kit Kats, we had 3 Kit Kat people who like Kit Kats, so that's 3 out of 10, because we know we've interviewed 10 people. For the Butterfingers, we have 2 out of 10. Sour Patch Kids, we have 2 out of 10. And Reese's, we have 3 out of 10. So you make a circle and divide it up by the total, which is 10. So we have a circle, and we have 10 little pieces of the pie. Then you're going to mark the circle based on the fraction. So for our Kit Kats, we have the dots. So we marked off 3 sections with dots because our fractions say that it is 3 out of 10. For Butterfingers, we have the lines, and that was 2 out of 10. Sour Patch Kids, we colored in, and that's 2 out of 10. And the Reese's are 3 out of 10, and we covered those in with swirls. So what does that mean? Well, you can analyze and see that the Kit Kats and the Reese's are the favorite in the class, while the Sour Patch Kids and Butterfingers aren't as popular. You can also see that the 2/10 is actually equal to 1/5 of the pie. So you could see it that way, especially in this one little section. So how do we read pie graphs? Well, this question says, which of the pets is least owned? And we look through this and we find the smallest section, which happens to be up here, and that is birds. So the birds are the least owned pet. Which pet is most owned? So now we look and we find the biggest piece of pie that we can, and that's the dogs. And it says to put the pets in order from the least owned to the most owned. So we know birds is the least owned. Then we look for the next one, and that looks like it's going to be hamsters, and then fish, and then cats, and then dogs. You can also write it the other way and do from biggest to smallest. So let's practice a problem. In a dance class of 8 students, 2 students walk, 1 rides the bus, 2 ride in the car, and 3 ride their bikes home. Use the circle graph to show how the dance students get home. So again, we're going to start by writing our fractions. So we have walking, riding the bus, in a car, and bike. So I just wrote down those words, and now we're going to go back, and we see that out of 8 students, 2 walk, so we go 2 out of 8. One rides the bus, so that's going to be 1/8. And remember, you're just putting the number that you're given over the total amount. 2 ride in the car, and 3 ride their bikes. So our next step is going to be to make our circle circle and section that off. So we're going to make our circle. We're going to make it kind of big so we can have plenty of room to work. And then we need to divide it into 8 sections. Okay. So now we have to go in and fill in the different sections. So we see that 2 out of 8 students walk, which is really, you could simplify that fraction down to what? That's right, 1/4. So we have 2/8, which is the same thing as 1/4. So we're going to count out 2 sections, and we're going to draw lines for that one. We're going to put over here lines so we remember which section is which. For the bus, we see that we have 1/8 the students. And we're going to give him little swirlies. And again, you're going to mark that over here. If you wanted to not use the symbols, you can also use different colors or write it inside the lines. So 2/8 right in the car, which we really know is 1/4, and we're going to color that in. And then 3/8 rode their bikes. And for this, we are going to use our swirls. And again, make your notes so you remember. So looking at this, what is the most popular way for students to get home? And remember, you got to find the biggest section of the pie. So looking at this, we see that the swirls is the biggest section. We look over here at our table, and that is to bike. What is the least popular way to get home? We look for the smallest section now, and we see that the scribble area is the smallest section, which is the bus, which is 1/8 of the students. So we're going to do one more practice problem. It says, out of a class of 10 students, 3 wore blue, 4 wore red, 1 wore orange, and the rest wore green. Make a circle graph to represent the colors of the clothes in the student's classroom. So I want you to pause the video now and write down your fractions. Okay, so as you can see that we made a list of the different colors that are being worn and added them up. So blue should have 3/10, red should have 4/10, orange should have 1/10, and our question didn't give us a number for green. It said the rest were green. So we need to add up the other colors and subtract that from 10. So we have 3 plus 4 plus 1 equals. So we know 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 3, which is 8. And we're going to do 10 minus 8, which we know is 2, to find out how many are green. So we're going to go ahead and write that in. So your fractions should look like this. If they do, go ahead and pause the video now and try to make your circle graph. Okay, so now that we have completed our pie chart, we can look and analyze the data. So looking at this, we can see that this section has the largest amount, which means that most students in the class wore red. Then we can see that the second largest group is the dots, which is the blue. And then the green comes in third, and then orange is in last. So using this data, you can see that compared to the orange, there are 3/10 more red clothes than there are orange. If you have any other questions, please feel free to comment below. Thank you. Have a good day.